Hello and welcome to the first of our In the Kitchen series, virtual cooking demonstrations. Today I'll be showing you how to make one of my favorite desserts, tarte tatin. Now as a chef cooking at home, it's really quite different than cooking at the club, of course. And when I do have friends over, there's a certain expectation to wow. Well, this one's simple, easy to make, and works every time to impress them. Before we do anything, preheat your oven on convection setting to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. To start, you'll need 8 or 10 nice firm apples. Granny Smith, Gala, or Honeycrisp work great. You'll need a good heavy bottom frying pan. Stainless steel, all-clad, or cast iron works great. Now peel the apples. I prefer these slingshot shaped peelers. They work great. A quick circle around the top, and then around the bottom, then easy strips down the side. Then quarter the apples. For nice uniform sizes, I like to cut them in half, scoop out the core with a melon baller, then cut in half again. This saves time and less waste. Then in your pan, put 2/3 of a cup of sugar with barely a cup of water. This makes a syrup as it boils and avoids getting lumps. Bring it to a boil until the water evaporates and the sugar begins to caramelize. This takes a few minutes, so let me give you a little bit of history on the dish. Tarte Demoiselle Tatin, or simply tarte tatin, is a classic dessert invented out of a near accident by the Tatin sisters who ran a hotel. Now legend has it that one of the gals was cooking apples with sugar and forgot about them on the stove and started to smell that familiar burnt sugar aroma. She quickly threw in some butter in an attempt to save them, and now being short of time, she just threw some pastry on top, popped it in the oven, and called it dessert. Apparently it went over so well with the hotel guests that it quickly became a staple on the menu, and eventually on menus around the world. Now turn the heat down and keep giving the pan a gentle swirl for even coloring. Once the caramel becomes a rich amber color, not too pale, pull it off the heat and it will continue to cook and change color just from the heat of the pan. Set the pan down on a cool surface and add 1/4 cup of butter. Stir it in and watch the bubbly, fudgy goodness happen. Wait a few more minutes until the caramel starts to thicken slightly as it cools. Then carefully start arranging the apples in a circle to line the pan completely. You want to really fill the pan with all the apples tightly. Once the bottom layer is complete, wedge the remaining apples in tightly until the pan is fully loaded. To keep a nice pattern, you may want to cut some of the quarters even smaller to wedge them in tightly in between. Then put the pan of apples back on the burner on very low heat. Now you can just leave it for a good 10 or 15 minutes. The hot sugar will draw juice from the apples and melt the caramel back to a liquid. All this sugary goodness will cook right into the apples for that distinct caramel flavor. You can leave it on the burner until you see the juices bubbling to the top in the center. Meanwhile, you can roll out a piece of chilled puff pastry. You can use commercial puff pastry that you'll find readily available in the freezer section of most grocery stores. Roll it out about an inch larger than the pan. Place it over the apples, allowing it to hang over the edge. To avoid any messy spills, place the pan on a small baking sheet and put it in your preheated oven. If you want to serve this fresh for dinner, I would put it in the oven just as you and your guests are ready to sit down for dinner. It takes about 25 minutes to bake, then needs time to rest for at least 10 minutes, so that's good timing for your dessert. Now gently place a serving plate that's a good 2 or 3 inches larger than your pan on top of the pastry. Place your hand firmly on the plate, holding the handle of the pan with the other hand, and quickly flip it over. Now very gently remove the pan, and voila, tarte tatin is served. You can serve this while still warm with ice cream, whipped cream, or nice custard sauce. I hope you enjoyed the demo and will give the recipe a try. Now if Mom made it like this, I'd never have left home.